My heart shall be thy throne. My life I give henceforth to live. O Christ, for thee alone.
Please be seated. I know that many of you who came here has the heart to serve the Lord. And I hope that some of you can consider to do full-time in this missionary. But if God move you to do full-time, please also consider IA territory. We want to pass a proposal, try to have overseas 海外宣教班, overseas missionary TTP classes. Because if you look at the South America, just Argentina, we have about 800 membership, but we don't have a full-time worker over there. And if you look at not only Argentina, Chile, and Brazil, so far only have a retired preacher. So we are hoping to get one or two. Now these classes, you probably need to serve in South America for 5 years. Then it's up to you and the church if you want to continue to stay there, or you can return back to your local country. For example, you register, you apply from Canada, and then you study for 4 years, serve in Argentina for 5 years, then you may apply to return back to Canada. Same thing apply to USA. After 5 years, And also, we also need full-time preachers in Europe. We also noticed that, look at, we have churches in Italy and Spain. Italy, we do not have church building yet. We are buying it. Spain, and then Europe, and we only have one preacher now, Pastor Kuo. And Pastor Kuo, he is also an IA person. He is like not in town often. That's why we need someone. If you are, again, apply from Europe, they might assign you to Europe in this 5 years, or you can remain in Europe, or they might assign you to some other places. So please put this in your prayer. If you truly like to serve full-time, IA is a big territory, and many places really have no shepherds, like sheep without shepherds. Of course, we have Holy Spirit and we have our Lord Jesus Christ, but our Lord need to send someone out to carry out this type of work. I can sense that some of you really are moved. Hopefully you can continue to pray about it. Jesus came to serve as a full-time worker. Jesus must have chosen the best job in the whole world. If the Lord move you, Jesus' heart is in you, I think many of your hearts will be burned. Maybe IA missionary is a little bit tough, especially in the first 5 years, but I truly believe it's worth it. It's really worth it. I just asked a brother who came back from Africa. I asked him, do you feel suffering? He said, maybe not suffering, but a little bit uncomfortable. But it's really worth it. It's really worth it. So please, again, if you want to consider full-time, think about IA also. Not only your country. You can always return back to your country if you feel like, right? Maybe after a few years. Let's pray for afternoon's class. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we pray. So in this class, we try to cover some issues of the local church using examples of Corinthian church. So as a worker, we try to deal with division issues in the local church. We try to deal with sexual immoral issues in the local church. We try to deal with lawsuit issue in the local church. And yesterday we already talked about lawsuit. We just want to read some Bible verses. Let's read chapter 6, verse 5. 1 Corinthians 6, verse 5. Amanda at this size, would you please read? 1 Corinthians 6, 5.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 5. I say this to your shame. Is it so that there is not a wise man among you, not even one, who will be able to judge between his brethren?
Yeah, if you brought your brother to the court, it's really a shame for the church. Do you not have a wise guy in among you to settle these issues? And yesterday we said that a church council need to try to help with this type of issues, right? Let's read verse 2 and 3.
Verse 2 and 3. Do you not know that the saints will judge the world, and if the world will be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Do you not know that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life?
Verse 4.
Verse 4. If then you have judgments concerning things pertaining to this life, do you appoint those who are least esteemed by the church to judge?
Yeah, we are to judge the world and to judge even angels. So it demoted the noble status if you cannot even judge the things in this life. The Lord give us the word. When we preach the gospel, actually, the word to the one who die become a perfume of death. To the word to the one who have salvation become a perfume for saving souls, right? So our word can judge the world. And Paul got inspired that we will even judge angels. And in your class, you know that angels could be referred to many beings, right? Yeah. So Jesus says that the apostle will sit together with him to judge also. So from the Bible, we can see that God anticipates us to know what is right and wrong, and sometimes to solve the issues. So don't bring your brother's issues to the human courts. It is a fault to sue brothers among you. Chapter 6, verse 7. Gideon, 6, 7.
Verse 7. Now, therefore, is it already an utter failure for you that you go to law against one another? Why do you not rather accept wrong?
Yeah.
Why do you not rather let yourselves be cheated?
Yeah, rather suffer yourself for your brother. Why can you not doing it? It's your brother. Since you are young, you hear the story of 孔融让梨 There's a guy called 孔融 and then he was told to yield the bigger apple, not apple, pear, to his brother, right? We shall love one another. We shall not fight. We really need to take disadvantage because they are your brother. And for sure, the one who has been taken advantage is the one who gained a lot in the Lord. 吃亏就是占便宜 And the conclusion, chapter 6, verse 9, Gideon.
Verse 9. Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God?
Okay, if we shall do everything right, You bring your brother to the court. It is not may not as serious as maybe verse 9 and on, all those things that they do, right? But again, it's also unrighteous. It is also unrighteous. And this verse connect the lawsuit issue to immortal issue. So verse 9 talk about many other immortal issues that cannot inherit the kingdom of God. Okay, I think if you don't have questions, we would like to go to next slides, please. As a worker, we need to know that there are three temptations, not only to worker, to many people, to many members. There are three major temptations. One is the desire of the eyes, the desire of the flesh, and the pride of this life. These three things was used to lure Eve, also to attack Jesus Christ, and also try to attack us. So I may have shared with you in the past, in Point Park Church, they used to have a sister who got demon possessed, and thank God, demon left her after a while, and she got baptized. And I remember one of the prayer section, several of us are laying hands. And after the prayer, the sister came to me and secretly told me that, hey, brother, at preacher, you should be very careful because I just saw 3 snakes are following you. And that really scares me. 3 snakes are following me. But I know what is these 3 snakes, right? They are the 3 things. I think they've been following many of us, including myself. And he said that one is bigger than the other 2. So our temptation to us, maybe someone have the issue of pride. Judah, his issue is always the love of money. Samson is the issue of woman. And everyone have his unique issue. Not the other issue is not attacking them, but everybody have a major issue they need to overcome. And so we are not fighting with the flesh and blood. We are fighting with the principality and power, the prince in the air. So everybody should be very alert, including myself. So verse chapter 7 and on, actually talk about sex and eating. Chapter 7 talk about sex. Chapter 8 to 10 actually talk about eating. But before entering into 7 to 10, chapter 6, the end of chapter 6 actually try to do a little bit instruction of the body and sex and food, right? So let's read chapter 6, verse 13 first. 6:13. Rebecca?
6 verse 13. Foods for the stomach and the stomach for foods, for God will destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body.
If you pay attention to this verse, really talk about 2 things. These 2 things are the 2 basic blessings in the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, you don't need to worry about what to eat. The food was provided. And then this verse tries to tell you that stomach is for food, food is for stomach, but God make both perished. So in this world, you naturally will want to eat. But even if you eat as a worker, there are some principles you should be careful. There are some principles you should be aware of. And then he started to say that the body is not for fornication. The body is for the Lord. So another blessing in the Garden of Eden is marriage. You don't need to be taught to eat. When a baby was born, he has a nature to seek for mother's milk to eat. You don't need to be taught to love opposite sex. On the way you grow, for some reason, opposite sex become very attractive. So these 2 things are the blessings in the Garden of Eden, and it all have to do with your body. And then later on, Paul tried to say that no matter you eat and drink, no matter maybe I shall use more direct word because this is a seminar. Sex life, actually, you should also get married for the Lord. Your body is for the Lord. If you do not want to be married, it's also for the Lord. No matter what, marry or not marry, your body is for the Lord. I think later on you will see the teaching is very clear. So you eat for the Lord, you marry for the Lord. So if you do not eat for the Lord, you got to know that stomach and food will perish eventually. You got to know that marriage will be gone after you die also. So I think this prepare us to enter into 7 to 10. And in 6, actually give us 3 principles in terms of eating and drinking. Our member might ask us, as worker, where does it says you cannot smoke in the Bible, smoke cigarette? Where does it say you cannot take marijuana in the Bible? How can you drink coffee but you cannot smoke? How do you give them answer? I think you can find the answer in chapter 6. Now, to make sure when you are eating and drinking, you should make sure your body glorify God. Your body glorify God. Read chapter 6, verse 12. 6:12. Who is it? Ariana? All things are lawful but not helpful, right? When you are 18, it's lawful to drink wine. But you become alcoholic, it's not helpful at all. So can this make sure your body can be helped, can be edified, and make sure your body is not under control of it. Because here says that I'm not under his control. Coffee is good, actually. Coffee, medical study tell you that it is good. But again, you become caffeine addicted. Like I know a boss. When I was working, I have a boss, right? He cannot live without coffee. Like early in the morning, he got to drink many cups of coffee. And early in the morning, when he drink coffee, you can see his hand was shaken, right? And the whole day, he continued drinking Coke. So I think drinking Coke or coffee is okay, right? They do not truly harm your body that much. Actually help your body in a way. But if you are addicted to coffee, the Bible says your body now everything is lawful, but Paul says I'm not going to be under his control. It cannot be under his control. And many things like, of course, coffee. Many people is not addicted. They only want to use it for 提神, so you can put energy. Maybe help your heart. That's all good things, no problem. But again, smoke. I don't see any medical report says smoke is really edified to you, right? I don't see any smoke. Do not only edify to you, it do not edify to the one who's surrounding you. We call it 二手烟, second-hand smoking, right? So it's really no good. So we apply this principle. Do you edify man? Of course, does it glorify God? Chapter 10, verse 23. 10:23. 23 and 24. Who is turn? Ariana, continue.
23. All things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but not all things satisfy. 24. But no one seeketh one, but each one the other well-being.
So when you eat and drink, when it comes to your body, you also need to consider the other people's needs, like smoke, and also need to glorify God, right? 31, Ariana. Chapter 10, 31.
31. Therefore, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God.
Yes, you should do it to the glory of God. So I ask you, if I am speaking right now and I have a secret over here and a secret on my hands, and I just smoke it and to start telling you that, hey, you should love the Lord. Do you think it glorifies God? I don't think it glorifies God. So everything pertaining eating and drinking, you just apply these three principles. And I guess it will be very clear. So you eat and drink just for the sake, also to glorify God, right? Now, this body is really critical. Chapter 6 tells you that this body have to do with resurrection. You honor your body. Jesus will honor you at the time of resurrection. Will transform your body into the body which is like Jesus' resurrected body. Let's read chapter 6, verse 14. Chapter 6, verse 14. Thomas?
Chapter 6, verse 14. And God both raised up the Lord and will also raise us up by his power.
Yeah. God raised up the Lord, he also will raise up. So you honor your body. So you got to let our members know, actually your body is not, it's really the temple of God. So not defile it. Defile it, God will defile you. God will destroy you. So you take care of your body. One day God will resurrect this body into Jesus' body. You defile it, you ruin it, God may ruin you. And of course, drinking and eating is from outside, right? But sexual immoral is even worse, is inside, right? Let's read verse 18. Verse 18, Thomas, chapter 6, verse 18.
Verse 18. Flee sexual immorality. Every sin that a man does is outside the body, but he who commits sexual immorality sins against his own body.
Yeah, read verse 16.
Verse 16. Or do you not know that he who is joined to a harlot is one body with her? For the two, he says, shall become one flesh.
If you go to harlots, you become one flesh with the harlot. One flesh, 两个人成为一块肉. It's very interesting. So you two become one flesh. It's a very interesting word the Bible uses. Yeah, you are one with the Lord in spirit, but if you with your spouse, you are one in flesh. With your spouse also. But if it is against God's teaching, it becomes sexually immoral, then this sin is not from outward. This thing is not only from outward, it's really inside the body. That's why we should really use our body to glorify our Lord Jesus Christ. There are many full-time workers, I would say probably 1/3. Thank God USA so far is not too bad. But if you observe many places, like I just told you, Kenya, we trained 5 and only 3 remain. So, and again, many workers or many members fall away due to sexual immoral. It is one of the greatest challenges for many young men. Many young men love to serve the Lord, but because of the misconduct they did before marriage, sometimes they cannot serve in IE. Sometimes when they want to report to TDP, and if they have history, it's one of the considerations that they may not be able to be used. So really, this is something you and I got to be very, very careful. Even you serve as a worker, you should be very careful between you and opposite sex when you do personal counseling, right? Especially when you do personal counseling. Because when it comes to counseling, usually the one you counsel, they are very vulnerable, very, a lot of times they are like someone sinking in the water. They want to look for anything to hold on. Now you step into his life or her life, really a lot of times he just want to hold on you. So a lot of times you really want to involve with your spouse or involve with some deaconesses. I'm talking about brother, right? So don't try to counsel a sister alone by yourself because you are inviting a chance for temptation. Yeah, and a lot of time when you are aware of it, it could be too late. It could be too late. I remember a pastor shared with us when he was doing his missionary in the local church. A truth seeker, he feel a truth seeker has a crush on him, right? And of course, the truth seeker is also looks beautiful, and our preacher is the most handsome preacher in USA, tall and handsome and young, and just got married not long ago, right? So what did he do? He asked the senior preacher. The senior preacher tell him, very simple, tell your wife. You cannot hide it, just tell your wife. Later on, he indeed tell his wife about the crush of the truth seeker has. And later on, the couple invite this sister for dinner, right? And then a lot of time when things got exposed, it is die. 见光死啊，见光就死了啦。A lot of things when you exposed to the light, the things are over. A lot of things if it is hidden in the darknesses, it will be fermented, just like Amnon, right? Lying down over there, begging by his own desire. What do you think when he was lying down over there? Thinking, oh, maybe Tamar is coming. Oh, maybe Tamar is not coming. Oh, I hope she comes. Like he is in darkness waiting for this event, and he was begging by his own desire. A lot of time you really let it exposed. Thing will be much better. So when it comes to this, everybody got to be very careful. It's not a joke, because when anyone get involved with it, when you come out, very likely it's like a stick stretched out of fire. 真的，如果一进去再出来都已经烧一半了。If you get, because 感情这种东西真的有时候是剪不断理还乱了。How do you say it in English? 感情这种东西真的是剪不断理还乱。Try.
Something that's tangled that is very hard to sever.
So don't get into the temptation firsthand. If you get into it, it can come out, really, your heart burned. You're like Lot. Really, you are. But if you can come out, thank God. Wonderful. But why not give yourself temptation at the very beginning? So be very careful. I think I share with you, maybe since you are young, about, see, the Sulamite woman, she is very neat with her eyes. One preacher says that, how do you know if a worker is a holy man? How do you know? That preacher suggests that just ask sister. Sister know which worker is a holy man. Sulamite woman know that Elisha was a holy man. 圣洁的神人啊. So she suggests to her husband, we shall build a place for this holy man to rest and provide, very considerate, provide all the necessities, a bed, a lamp, a desk, right? That is very basic. But you look at how Elisha deal with this woman. There are some interesting details that you can trace it in the Bible. Maybe I share this with you since you're young. Where is it? 2 King. 2 King, chapter 4, verse 12 and 13. Chapter 4, verse 12 and 13. Yeah.
12. Then he said to Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite woman. And he called her, she stood before him. 13. And he said to him, say now to her.
Okay. So where is the woman now? Yeah. where's the woman now? In verse 11.
Upstairs.
Verse 12. Where is the woman? Where did he stand? In front of who? Who is him? Elisha, right? So the woman was in front of Elisha, right? Now, verse 13, how did Elisha talk to the woman? Read it again, 13. Yes.
And he said to him,
Who is him? Gehazi, right? This is very interesting. I mean, the woman, no, read it again. Read it again. Read it again. You cannot read? Nah, Alex, read for him. Read for your friend.
Verse 13, and he said to him, say now to her, look, you have been concerned for us with all this care. What can I do for you?
Okay, so how did Elisha talk to her? Through who? This is strange, right? He's in front of her. Why? You want to show that 他是一个非常奇怪的人吗? Why she's in front of you and you are not talking to her? Instead of you talk to Gehazi and Gehazi talk to her. This is weird, right? It's just weird, isn't it? But you continue reading, you will see something even weird. 27, verse 27, 4:27. Alex.
27. Now when she came to the man of God at the hill, she caught him by the feet, but Gehazi came near to push her away.
Well, why? She came to hold on the feet of the prophet, and Gehazi said, "Go away, go away. Woman shall not be touched, man." Something like that, right? Okay, and of course Gehazi said, "Let her," because she is a sort of woman in this case. So what is my point over here? My point is that if you pay attention to the detail, Elisha, the Bible especially talk about that he is a man of holy, 圣洁的神人. And you can see that when she speak to the woman, when he spoke to the woman, he was very cautious. He do not even allow woman to touch him. Because Gehazi know, that's why he want to push that woman away. Is that right? Yeah. No, as a young workers, when I first came out, I do not pay attention to those details. Maybe I share with you. One day I was in a overseas missionary, and a deacon invited me to go to a restaurant, and it's deacon, his wife, and me, right? So when what do I say? When deacon is here, right? Anyway, I did not pay attention. I just sit down in front of his wife, right? Because three of us. And then the deacon said, "Pastor, it's not your space. Your space is in front of me." And I feel so embarrassed, right? So I feel so embarrassed. Then I learned, as a young man, I know he is very cautious about this also. Of course, now maybe you think, this is all too much 啦，哪有这么小心的？不要吓死人的啦，没有这样子的啦。You don't need to do like this. This is too tedious. This is too nonsense, right? But really, I mean, we can see some workers are very, very cautious about this, and I think it's a good protection for yourself. Personally, I think it's a good protection for yourself. So now, when I really pay attention to a pastor. When he want to counsel a sister. Sometimes I did not pay attention. Okay, I'm sorry. I still need to learn. He really sit not face to face. Make sure 15 degree. But again, you think that this is nonsense. This is too much. In our culture, we would hug each other, right? Why do you want to fussy about this? But I'm telling you that cautious is always a protection. Be more cautious, really. Be more cautious. Anyway, you should take this as your reference, because many people fall in this field. That's why. every one of us should be very cautious. Remember, there are 3 snakes following me, and maybe you too, right? Right, next slide, please. And then as a worker, you will always ask about, when can we date? The young man might come to you, when is the proper time for us to date? Or how should we date? Or where should we date? Okay? I noticed that many parents have their own principles and rules to their children. But as a work of God, we should have a common understanding, common teachings. So we do not, this pastor teach this way, the other pastor teach that way. So what is I'm not talking about some special cases, but this is usually the general principle for us to counsel brothers and sisters when it comes to dating, when it comes to marriage or singlehood. We all base on the principle of chapter 7, right? Number 1 rule is that dating is only for those who are seeking to marriage, right? Dating's purpose is for marriage. If you are not ready to get married, what is the purpose to date? So usually our principle to those who are married, we like them to have group activities, right? If you want to go out in small number, probably go out in odd number, not in even number. This is general principle for counseling. Now you come to an age, maybe you are the 4th year of your college years, or last semester of your college, or you are ready to enter into marriage. Our principle concerning dating is also better not to have physical contact before you got married. I think this is, I hope when you go to any preachers, they have the same answer to you, right? Why? Because we all know that maybe you heard it from Patricia Chen, right? Many of you from USA now, IE specialists, they will tell you that if you study hold hands, then a few months later, you are not satisfied with holding hands. You want to do kissing. You want to do patting. Then one step leads to another. Then maybe before you get married, you end up cannot have matrimony services in the house of God. That's why our principle is that really you keep a distance before you get married. I believe this is the same, this is the understanding of USGA preachers' counseling principle. I hope other GA also have the same understanding, but I cannot guarantee. But at least this is my understanding from the Bible. Let's read chapter 7, verse 1. Chapter 7, verse 1. 7:1. Australia sister, your name is Nicole.
Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
Yes. Of course, some people explain this verse similar one, like verse 7. Please read verse 7. 7:7.
Verse 7. For I wish that all men were even as I myself.
Okay, so some people explain that men should not touch women. Maybe it have to do with Paul hoped you to be single. At that generation, Paul was single. But again, if I read it, put it more general, to me, it's like before marriage, right? You should not touch women. It's better for a man not to touch women. Of course, touch over here, if you study, there are many meanings. One meaning is that really become spouse, right? But I would like to take the most 最简单的想法，就是 don't touch, no touch 啦 no touch. Like the bus in Taiwan, at the back, there's always a sign, 保持距离以测安全.
This is to ensure safety.
Yes, thank you. Keep a distance to assure safety. 保持距离以测安全. You keep a distance so you can be assured of your safety. I keep ask young men, right? How many of you like your spouse's hand to be touched before you marry her? How many brothers hope that your spouse's hands has been touched by other men before you got married? I guess no one have that kind of hope. Yeah, I hope my wife's hands are public hands. Everybody can hold on her. Nobody like. If you have this type of thoughts, then why do we encourage people to touch others before you get married? Let's read Hebrew chapter 4. Hebrew chapter 4. I mean 13:4. Hebrew 13:4. 13:4. Nicole, I call you 100 times, then I can remember your name.
Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is honorable among all, and the bed undefiled, but fornicators and adulterers God will judge.
What is fornicator? What is adulterers? Fornicator is you have sexual intercourse before marriage. What is adulterers? You have affair after you got married, right? That is adulteries. And marriage should be honored by all. Bed should not be defiled. So if you honor your bed, you honor your marriage, you honor God, actually. Because marriage is set up by God. So you should honor marriage. Because that's the way that shows honor God. When I was in Africa, a member asked, what does it mean by bed shall not be defiled? Actually, TRC also researched on this. I think you heard this already. That means that what is considered sexual misconduct, including hand sex, breast sex, oral sex, anal sex, sexual intercourse, they are all considered bed defile. But of course, some action is considered more serious than other action. That's why USGA drew a line before. If anybody have sexual intercourse and oral sex, they are not proper to have wedding matrimony in the house of God. That's why, but doesn't mean other type of touch is not sexual misconduct. It is also sexual misconduct. But no matter what, we got to have the same understanding, and when member ask you, you know, where do we stand, okay? Because nowadays, many people will ask the church worker about our principle of teachings. And then second principle is that, let's read chapter 7, verse 2. Chapter 7, verse 2. 7 verse 2, Sky. We already mentioned that it's a blessing in the Garden of Eden that God set up marriage, and it's a nature, it's an urge that men will appreciate opposite sex when they grow up. So in order to avoid sexual immorality, the general principle is that everybody better to have their own spouse, So we got to understand. So one of the function of marriage is that you can have, you don't commit sexual immoral. You can avoid sexual immorality. This is one of the functions for marriage. And that's your question, we shall continue because there are simply too many teachings over here. Let's read chapter 3 to 4. Sky, continue. Verse 5. Amen. shall not deprive from one another. So sexual intimacy is a duty according to these verses. So our understanding is that if one have physical issue that he cannot perform, he cannot function to become one, he really should not get married. Some people have physical handicap or psychologically handicapped. They cannot function. Their body or their mind may make their body cannot function to become true spouse, meaning that to become one. Then we should counsel them not to get married. If they insist they want to get married, they should let the other person know before they get married. Because, of course, some people, maybe they don't mind. They still love one another. They will accept one another. But honesty is so critical in this, because this is the basic functions for marriage. Some sister says that intimacy is very disgusted. It's very disgusted. To us, no, it is not disgusted. The concept of Bible, number one concept is that intimacy between spouse, sex between spouse, is a blessing. This is very important concept. It's a blessing. Let's read Genesis chapter 1. Verse 28. 1:28. Of course, this supposed to be in the scope of God's teaching, not outside of marriage, right? This blessing is not outside of marriage. 1:28, Crystal. So God bless them, be multiplied and fruitful. How to be multiplied and fruitful? Of course, through intimacy, right? So, in the old days, we always announced that before Holy Communion, you should separate bed with your spouse. How many of you heard this type of announcement in the old days? Raise your hand. One, right? Two, yeah. We heard this kind of thing. Then a preacher has a problem with this. He says that when I serve my out of town, I always do spiritual communication, right? Every week I'm partaking Holy Communion. And I go home, I want to rest, and local church also has spiritual communication. And I go home, oh, thank you very much. It says that, well, I shall abstain from my wife. And I did not see my wife for 3 months. I go home, there's another spiritual communication. What do you want me to do? So if you truly know the principle, no, it's not a sin. It is a blessing. It's a blessing, it's not a sin. Of course, you do not indulge yourself into this kind of pleasure when it comes to important occasion. Your mind should be focused on the Holy Word. But this preacher is on vacation, actually, right, when he come home. So, yeah, nowadays you do not hear this type of saying often now. But again, to prepare your heart is a very good reminding, right? To prepare your heart, you honor the body of Jesus Christ. It is very good reminding. But now our concept is that intimacy between spouse is a blessing. And this blessing including what? This blessing including comfort. Comfort. We call it soulmate. You have someone that can help you with your soul. Like Bible says, Isaac was comforted when he got married. 他娶了她并爱她. He married her and love her. From that moment on, he was converted after his mother died. I think opposite sex, even mother, some people really enjoy the love of mother. But sometimes when you do not have the love of mother, the love of your wife also plays certain roles of that type of womanly love, right? Womanly, is it? I don't think it's the right word. 女性的爱. How do you say it? What is the right word? Huh? Sounds right? Okay, whatever. Yeah. Sometimes you need 一些女性的关怀. No, he cannot get it from mother. Of course, mother's love is very different from spouse love. But still, they are all women, right? And he was converted through the marriage. So really, this blessing really come with comfort. This blessing also come with joy. Joy. So, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 9, I think. Or 9:11. Anyway, it says that 这个是神赐给你们在虚空的日子你们要同你们的妻快活度日哈。这是你们在劳碌的时候虚空下面所得的份。Maybe let's read it. Let's read it. I'm not reading very clearly in Chinese neither. Ecclesiastes I think it's chapter 9, is it? Chapter 9, verse 9. Chapter 9, verse 9. Crystal? Okay, so 快活度日 快活度日 Brother John 快活度日
live happily days of your life.
Yes. So I think one of the function of marriage, the blessing, really you can live happily. And one thing, the Bible also says that God can create millions of men with one word, right? But he did not use that way. He used marriage to have not people to have godly children. Someone have a family, has a father, has a mother, enjoy family life, enjoy love from papa, from mama, and then you can have a godly children. I think this is also a blessing from marriage. You know, where's that verse, right? Malachi chapter 2, right? We don't need to flip. So it's a duty. Offering sex to spouse is a duty. Now let's come back. Maybe we break and come back. Let's pray in silence. Amen.